Okay, yesterday we discussed this Almonas Isa. So one interpretation, which is Rashi here, says Almonas Isa is the case where the husband is a Sofik Cholo, his mother was a Sofik Grusha, and then she married a Kohen, and then there was a child born. There's a child is a Sofik Cholo, and the child now marries a woman who initially was permitted to a Kohen. So Rav Chisda says everybody agrees that Almonas Isa, the wife of the Sofik Cholo, is considered defiled, Sofik, meaning his questionable status carries over to her. That's what we've been discussing past 2 days. Now Rashi and so what is the meaning of Svek Sveka? So Svek Sveka doesn't mean Svek Sveka, according to this interpretation. The Gemara says Svek Sveka. Svek Sveka means it's a suffix derived from another suffix. His suffix is transfers over to her. That's Svek Sveka. Her suffix is a takeoff of his suffix. That's Rashi's explanation here. In Ksubas, he cites another opinion that explains literally means Svek Sveka. It's a double suffix. What's a double suffix? He says, "Divrei Rav Yosef Tovelim, Motzosik," quoting Rashi in Ksubas in the Yudalit. Almonas Isa, Isha Shohoya Bailo Svek Sveka. Her husband was a Svek Sveka. How do you get the husband should be a Svek Sveka? Now, the halacha is if a man marries a woman and then he dies, before his wife's permitted to remarry, she has to wait 3 months. Right? Why does she have to wait 3 months? Because she may have been conceived from the first husband. So let's say now she gives birth. It's from the death of the first husband, it's 9 months, and it's 7 months since she married the new husband. So it's possible it's full term from the first husband, but it's also possible it's a 7-month birth from the second husband. So in that situation, you're not so sure who the father is. Is the father from the first or from the second? That's why you wait 3 months. It's called Hafchana, to be able to discern whose child it is, because 3 months will be recognizable whether she's pregnant or not. So that's the concept of Hafchana. Okay? What happens if a woman didn't wait? Listen to the story. Isha shohoya balo svek svekot shenizgarshi imo mi balo rishon. Hear this? A woman was divorced from her first husband. Sofi korov lo, sofi korov lo. What kind of divorce? It was a questionable divorce. You hear the case? It's a questionable divorce. Umes. Toch shlosha chodoshim. And he died within 3 months. 3 months of giving that get. Right? Gave the get. Okay. And now, v'nosel l'kohen. Toch shlosha chodoshim. V'yolda zeh. She got married. She didn't wait the 3 months. And she marries a kohen. Right? Shlosh chodoshim. V'yolda zeh. V'nisis l'kohen. Toch shlosha chodoshim. V'yolda zeh. Sofikus. Now we have multiple questions. Sofik shu ben tisha l'rishon. If he's the first person's child, it's not, there's no problem, right? It has nothing to do with the kohen. The kosher, he's 100% kosher. Vafilu teimo, vafilu hoisim gureshes, and even if she was what? Let's say she was a divorcee, but divorcee is only regarding the second husband, not the first husband. Okay? Shrei kodem leget nisabro. Because she was impregnated before she was divorced. Or afilu achara get. Vu yisrael v'lo kohen. Let's say it happened after the get. Oh, afilu achara get. Vu yisrael v'lo kohen. Right? Oh, afilu achara get. 1 second. Vu yisrael v'lo kohen. V'sovik ben tish shiva la'achron u'beno shel kohenu. Sovik cholo harik svek svek. Shema enu. First like this. Firstly, maybe this person is not the son of a Kohen. No, we want to know what the woman is. Okay? We want to know what the woman is. He may be the son of Yisrael. Right? Now she's going to be widowed from this man. This child marries a woman. So we say, he may be Yisrael. Right? So if he may be Yisrael, so she's 100%. Now she's widowed from a regular Yisrael. There's a chance, maybe he's the child of the second husband. So if he's the child of the second husband, that means he's a Kohen. And if his mother was a divorcee, he's a Cholo. right? And if he's a cholo, that carries over to her. She becomes defiled. But there's a chance that what? The get wasn't valid. So the get wasn't valid, so what was his mother? Widow. So if she was a widow, the Kohen was permitted. So you got a sveka. Regarding his wife, firstly, maybe the husband is a Yisrael. So she's the widow of a Yisrael, therefore she's permitted to marry a Kohen. And even if she's the daughter, he's the son of the Kohen, maybe his mother was not a divorcee, because the get was not within her $4 amos. As a result of that, she's not defiled. So this is a bona fide sveka. Right? Firstly, is he a Kohen? Is the husband a Kohen, not a Kohen? And if he is a Kohen, he may not be a cholo. That's sveka. So now, based on the principle of what we mentioned, the Rashba says in Ksubas, what's the rationale of sveka? It's rov. Right? Torah says you always go after rov. You have the majority of the sides to the question are positive, not negative. Right? You have a 2-to-1 saying that the woman's not defiled. Correct? Or that he doesn't possess illegitimacy. Right? Either he's Israel, and even if he's a Kohen, he may not be a cholo, because his mother maybe was a widow, never a divorcee. So what is his wife? Based on sveka, his wife should be permitted. Right? Rav Chisda says, nevertheless, everybody agrees, almonas Esau is not permitted to a Kohen. That means, even though on a Torah level she would be permitted, because of mal osa b'yuchsid, because it has to do with pedigree, these are rabbinic legislations, and we institute certain stringencies on a rabbinic level, she's not permitted to marry a Kohen. This is Rav Chisda. Omer Rav Chisda, okay? 2 lines before they get wider. Hakol mod b'almonas isha shepsu lakuna. Man mekel. Now stop. According to the interpretation we said yesterday, where Rashi explains here, the husband is a suffix, so his level of illegitimacy or questionable carries over to her. She has a chazaka, he doesn't have a chazaka. Remember, we discussed that. She has a chazaka, she should be permitted to a Kohen. The answer is malo sub yuchsid. So where's the malo? In the context of chazaka. Right? Chazaka is not as strong as a rov. But we're saying, if you learn the case like Rav Yosef Elam, Tov Elam, which is the second opinion that Rashi cites in Ksubis, the chumrah of malos b'yuchsin is even not only by chazaka, even we have a rov. Even if you have a sveka, still will be machmir. Right? The only difference between the two pshatim is to what degree we machmir because of malos b'yuchsin. Maybe chazak, which doesn't have the strength of a rov, or even a rov. So if you're saying learn like Rav Yosef Tovelim, it's even by a rov, because sveka, the rationale, the principle is rov. You have a 2-to-1 saying that he's a kosher Jew. So if he's a kosher Jew, there's nothing to transfer over to the wife. Okay? Now the Gemara says, we had a 3-way argument. When does a woman become defiled? Right? Tanakama says, if she's not permitted to cohabit with a man, she's defiled. That was the Tanakama. Then Rabbi Yossi said that if his progeny are not legitimate, then she's defiled. So we said, what was the halakha difference between the Tanakam and Rabbi Yossi? Let's say he was a Mitzri Sheni, right? He was a 2nd-generation convert Mitzri, Egyptian. So what are his children? Or whether it's a boy or girl, kosher. So that's the case, he will not defile her. Rabbi Gamaliel said no, even more than that. That even it has to be all his children are illegitimate. So let's say it would be an ammonium ovi, whatever relations with a woman, although he's not permitted to her, he will not defile her because if he has a daughter, his daughter is permitted. So of the 3, who's the most lenient? Reb Shimon Gamliel. So Reb Chisda is saying, even according to Reb Shimon Gamliel, who's the most lenient in regard to defilement, he will be in agreement. Almonas Esau will not be permitted to a Kohen. Here. Because of Yosef. But although, in regard to the cases, he's the most lenient of the 3, she had a forbidden relationship. But there, the relationship doesn't defile her. Why? Because all the progeny are not what? Are not illegitimate. Because if it's a female, Female's permitted. Amoni v'lo amonis, moavi lo moavis. Okay? He says, Man mekel b'hanei tanoi. Who's the most lenient among all these tanoim? Reb Shimon Gamliel. Ukomer, what does he say? Kol she'atonosi bito, atonosi almonoso. If you're permitted to marry his daughter, you're permitted to marry the widow. Kol she'atonosi bito, atonosi almonoso. Lemute mai. What does that come? What does that come to? He had to make that statement. It says, if you could marry his almona, you could. He's reiterating this. Why? It has to be this and not another case. Right? He already stated it from the first statement. So what is he coming to exclude? Lemute mai, lemute almona siso. To tell me that even though it's a svek sveka, either the first pshat in Rashi, the second pshat in Rashi, shepsu lakuna. Yeah? Nevertheless, because of malos yuchsin, because of the stringency with which we've instituted to protect the pedigree of Kuna, we're not going to permit it, rabbinically. Even though in that case, there was a forbidden relationship. Amoni or Moavi, she's not defiled. But in Amoni Sisha, she will be defiled. She's a questionably defiled woman, therefore we will not allow her to marry a Kohen. No, Rav Chist is saying that. No one.
Everyone agrees.
Even the most lenient would agree here. Okay? La fuka mihane tanoi. So what is he coming? He says to say differently that they would argue with these other tanoi. What Ditnan? Heid Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda Mebeseiro. Yeah? Rabbi Yeshua, this is a mission in Edus. Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda Mebeseiro, they had stated testimony. Ala monis isha shiksheira lakuna. They said differently. Rav Chist is saying that Reb Shimon Gamliel, who's the most lenient in the context he's discussing, holds almonis isha is not permitted, although it's a svek sveka. To argue on these other tanoim, who's Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, almonis isha shiksheira lakuna. My time, what is their basis? Havi svek sveka, because it's a svek sveka. Svek sveka lakula. Because their principle is, we have svek, so what does it mean? No. So it either means, like the first pshat in Rashi, because since this is a suffix, which is a derivative of a suffix, she has a chazaka. I understand. Well, the whole Gemara did. No, it means one of the two pshatim. It means, it either means, because there's a chazaka rules that she's permitted, right? And therefore they would not institute a stringency, or it's a bona fide svek sveka, like the second shot that Rashi brought. It's rove. It's 2-1. That what she's not defiled. So if it's 2-1, she's not. What? Because of that, there has to be a basis to be machmir. There's no basis. There's no basis to be machmir over here. Let's go. The question is, what is the meaning of svek sveka? Is it the conventional understanding of svek sveka? And what is the conventional understanding? It's a double suffix. So why is it double suffix? Why are we always lenient? Because it's a 2-1. That's the principle of probability. So that's rove. That's rove. The concept is the concept of rove. No, that was the second. The first was chazaka. Right? Because she's a derivative. Her questionable status is due to him. Yeah, but the difference is she has a chazaka. He doesn't have a chazaka. No. He says Hakol Modim. So Gemara qualifies. Hakol Modim of the three, even though Reb Shimon Gamliel is the most lenient among the three, even he's in agreement. That's the Hakol. What? He says it's a machlokes tanoim. We don't rule like that. I mean, la locha we rule like the Mishnah Edges, not like Rav Chisda. Right. Yeah. Okay, now let's get to our Mishnah. The Mishnah says, we stated we have an argument. The Tanakama says that whoever is not permitted to marry into Klal Yisrael, all the illegitimate statuses, they're mutar in love with zebazeh. They're permitted to marry one another. A mamzer can marry a mamzer. What about a Safi mamzer? Could also marry a mamzer. Not only could you marry a Suffolk mamzer, you can marry even a Vade mamzer. For the same reason. Why? Because the Tanakhama holds that a mamzer is not called Kal Hashem. Right? So he's not called Kal Hashem, so therefore you're permitted. Rebbe Lezer says no. And what does Rebbe Yehuda say? No. Rebbe Yehuda concludes, Rebbe Lezer concludes, only definite. A nosin can marry a nosin, a mamzer can marry a mamzer. But what about a shtuki marrying a shtukis? Right? We're not sure the pedigree of the father, who the father was. Or an Asufi. We don't know who they are. So it's a question. Maybe one's legitimate, the other one's not legitimate. So therefore we can't allow it. Right? That's Rebbe Lezer. It's only Vade bevade, not Vade besofik. No, a Nosin can marry a Mamzer. Right? Because they're both definite illegitimate people. An Ammoni can marry a Mamzer. Because Ammoni, definitely. Ammoni's lo yova b'kal Hashem. Like a Mamzer's lo yova b'kal Hashem. So Ammoni, Moavi, these people can marry a Mamzer. But let's say a person's a shtuki. We don't know who the father was. She's a kosher woman. The question, the father may have been an incestuous relation. We don't know. Right? Shtuki cannot marry a mamzer, according to Rebbe Lezer. It's only vadai bevadai, not sofik bevadai. It may be. It's a sofik halashem. Sofik. No, because Rebbe Lezer holds kal gerim is called kal. Okay? So therefore, if you hold kal gerim is called, even without that. Shtuki, he may be a kosher Jew. It's a suffix. So if he may be a kosher Jew, so how could he marry a mamzer? Again, but this would be Malab Yuchsin. This was because we had psukim before. We said kal vadi v'lo kal suffix, right? We can see in a moment. The Gemara is going to discuss this. And even uncertain marrying the certain. Not a bigger chiddush, because each one is independent of the other. I mean, they're both suffix, but one may, in reality, be definitely illegitimate, and the other one may be legitimate. He says, Vadai bevadai. He says, Vadai bevadi mutter, Vadai besveik, sveik vadai, usveikon, even sveikon besveikon. He's not permitted. That is the greatest condition. Why? Because he'd say they're both suffix mamzer. The suffix. So no. This is rabbinical. This is rabbinical. So he'd say a suffix in a vada, he's definitely a vada mamzer. There's a chance he may be a kosher Jew. So rabbinically, we're machmir. But what about they're both on the same? They have the same categorization. So what one is? Maybe I won't be machmir drabonon, and we'll allow them, even that not. Right? So that's why that's the greatest tiddush, that suffix b'suffix we're not going to permit. Okay? No, a Sufi means, why did the parent, it's an abandoned child. Who abandons a child? Evidently there was some degree of illegitimacy. So that's why we have to be concerned. Correct? It's not vadai. No. The Gemara concluded malos abusin. That was the conclusion before, right? Since there's uncertainty when it comes to pedigree, things have to be absolutely clear. What exactly is the pedigree of people, right? These are all rabbinic stringencies. Om Rav Yehuda Marav. Rav Yehuda says name of Rav halacha kereb lozer. Question: Reb Lezer. We rule like Reb Lezer, which is the most machmir in the Mishnah. Tanakama says, we make them. Right? But the Gemara is going to ask on Rav a phenomenal question. The first Mishnah in the Perek says, Ezra brought 10 classifications of Yuchsin from Bavel, and it says they're all permitted to intermarry with one another. So the Tana of the Mishnah, which is anonymous Tana, says, seemingly it's permitted. Also, Rav says, no, we rule like Reb Lezer. Well, Machmas, he's going to ask. Amr Yehuda Marav, halach Reb Lezer. Kamri to Kami to Shmuel. So Reb Yehuda says, when I mentioned it to Shmuel, I quoted Rav's ruling to Shmuel. Omar Li, Hillel Shona Sori Yusin Omin Bovel. Hillel, which is what? Which is the author of the Mishnah. Not Hillel. Rabbi Yudah Nossi, who descended from Hillel, who's the author of the Mishnah. That's who called Hillel. And he states there were 10 classifications of pedigree came from Bovel. Legitimate, illegitimate. And he says, V'kulon mutarm lovu zeh bozeh. And all the illegitimate categories, even questionable illegitimacy, they're permitted to marry. V'atamrit halocha Reb Lozer. So how could Rav say halocha is like Reb Lezer? What? Because if Rabbi Yudah Nossi state, what is always an anonymous Mishnah? It's a Stam Mishnah. We rule like a Stam Mishnah. So if we have a Stam Mishnah saying they're permitted, and here we have, it's not a Stam Mishnah, it's an individual. What is the status of a Stam Mishnah, of an anonymous Mishnah? It's like a rove. Right? So the Rishonim discuss it's not so simple. When he says Hillel, he's quoting over here a brisa. What is he quoting? Something else. So they say, because we have a principle, stam ba'kachem machlokus. When you have an anonymous Mishnah, and then Rabbi Yudah Nossi afterwards states the discussion in the context of an argument. The halacha is not like stam. Correct? A stam anonymous Mishnah, Rabbi Yudah Nossi wrote it anonymously to tell you because that it's the equivalent of majority opinion, because that's why he's not identifying the source of that opinion. So that means we rule this way. Even though it may be a minority opinion, but he's stating it as if it would be a majority opinion, to tell you we rule this way. Now the question is, so why does it follow with a machlokus? Same subject matter. Cites a machlokus. Rebbe Lezer's disagreeing. Right? So the answer is, because Rabbi Yudah Nossi, he actually retracted his original ruling. He retracted it. So the Gemara asks throughout Shas, so he should have deleted the first Mishnah, right? If he retracted and he felt it wasn't correct, his original position, he should have retracted it. What? Yeah, he should have correct. But it was part of the oral tradition. You studied the first Mishnah. Why do you leave it? As Gemara says, once a Mishnah is stated, Mishnah ein zozim min koma. It remains in place. Why? What's the reason? Initially, everything was committed to memory. If you have memory, and it's already committed to memory that Mishnah is a cogent Mishnah and a valid Mishnah, the moment you take that Mishnah out, you delete it, the whole the memory process becomes disrupted. I always give you the example. A person says Mishaberos. Multiple names. And then some people recover, some people die. Once you take out a few of those names, you have to focus, you have to really apply yourself to remember all the names. Before that, it almost went by rote. It's memory. The moment you disrupt the order, it's like you have to reclassify. It's like a reclassification of that to establish that memory. So that's the reason why Rabbi Yudah Nossi, it says, Mishnah Shoshana ein zozim min koma. Once the Mishnah is learned, the Mishnah is not removed from its location. It's different. No. Okay, further. So that's the Gemara's question. That was his response. Shmuel disagrees. So the halacha, how do we rule? So they speak. How did we rule? We rule Rav and Shmuel halacha Rav Yisuri. Whenever there's an argument, Rav and Shmuel, we rule like Rav, right? Regarding Yisur. So if that would be the case, we drew like Reb Lezer. Now, even though Shmuel was taken aback, doesn't make a difference. But now the Gemara says, Rami, the Rav, Rami, the Shmuel. We have a contradiction in rules, 2 statements of Rav and 2 statements of Shmuel. Dietmar. Arusa she'ibro. A woman is a Deishas Ish, an Arusa. An Arusa, she doesn't normally cohabit with her husband. This is before Chuppah, even though she's a wife. But since the marriage hasn't been consummated until Chuppah, and all of a sudden you find as an Arusa, you find she's pregnant. Now, an Arusa is pregnant. A single woman that's pregnant, and she lives in the community where the majority of people are Jews, right? Or even goyim, even goyim, even goyim. Akum abba bas Yisrael and blood kosher. Even a non-Jew fathers that child, a kosher child. There's a chance it may have been incestuous, but I have a rove, right? But when you have an arusa becoming pregnant, what's the rove? The rove is not the husband, right? Because a woman, until she goes to chuppah, she doesn't cohabit with the husband. Betrothed. Kiddushin without nisuin. No, it's not engaged. This means betrothed. I'm using the word betrothed. She's already an Eshes Ish, right? It was only kiddushin, there was no nisuin. She did not enter yet into his domain, fully into his domain. We just had it in regard to, what's it called? Hatoras Nedorim, right? When a woman is an arusa and she's, let's say, not more than 12 and a half, the neder or the shvu is jointly annulled by the father and the husband. Once she enters into chuppah, she left the father's domain. She's fully in the husband's domain. That's nisuin. It doesn't matter. Even though they're kosher Jews, but nobody's permitted. But she became pregnant. So what's the is it her husband or is it others? What would you say? It's others, right? So I would differentiate between Penuyo Shinisabro and Arusa Shinisabro. It's irrelevant what he says. It's irrelevant. The question is, what do you believe? What do you believe? A man normally doesn't engage with his wife before chuppah. So that means, but she had relations with someone. So we have a question. Was it the husband? Which is unlikely. It could have been anybody. But if it's anybody other than the husband, what's the child? The child's a mamzer. So Rove should rule that what? The child's a mamzer. I understand that, but a woman doesn't engage with her husband also. She's not fully married to him. So we'll see. That good. What? Goyim is irrelevant. No, the majority of Goyim, there will be something else. If the majority would be Goyim, then the child would be a kosher Jew. Right? Because a mamzer can only come from a Jew. A mamzer can't come from a non-Jew. We're speaking about the majority of Jews, and she's pregnant. And she's a married woman. It's irrelevant. Because adultery is only the woman's married, not the man. Even though in secular world they call that adultery. Okay. So now, Arusa She'ibro. Rava Amar Havlad Mamzer. He said the Vlad's a Mamzer. Okay. What does that mean, Havlad Mamzer? Now, it's very interesting. There's a discussion in the beginning of Subis. We just mentioned it. It's based on a ruling of the Riv. What happens if you're able to verify something? Do you go after Rove? Something which we said we don't. It's called Efshel Levure. You don't go after Rove. See, that's the reason why the Riv says the discussion is like this. The Gemara says if you find an animal slaughtered and you check the neck, it looks like it was a professional shechita. Are you permitted to eat the meat? So Gemara says, you're permitted to eat meat. Why are you permitted to eat meat? Because Rov Mitzunei Shechita Mumchanein. The majority of people engaged in ritual slaughter are experts in shechita. Even though a person could do shechita, if you're not really proficient in its laws and an expert, it's not valid. But we have a right to rely on Rov Mitzunei Shechita Mumchanein. The majority of people do shechita, they're experts. So if that's the case, the animal's kosher. You're permitted to eat the meat. Okay? So there's a shaila. The question was, a person does shechita, and he slaughtered, and we're not sure about his credentials. Is he really a qualified shochet? Do you have to, and nobody ate the meat yet, and you're able to give him an examination to see whether he's really that expert? Do you have to summon the man for an examination, or you have a right to rely on Rov? There's no reason. We say the majority of people engage in shechita. They're experts. So why do we have to waste time examining it? The Rif says no. Since it's efshel avurei, since you could verify it, you don't rely on Rov. The Torah says if you have an resolvable question, you rely on Rov. But if you're able to resolve it, it's not a question. So if it's not a question, Rove doesn't come into play. That's the Psak of Rove. So he says, if the man left town and you have a question, was he or was he not, so then it's not verifiable, then you rely on Rove. But if the man's in town and you're able to summon him and examine him, of course you have to, then you have no right to rely on Rove. That's the Psak of the Rif. So now we draw any time you have a situation where you're able to verify, we don't rely on Rove, we don't rely on Chazak either. Chazak also, a mikveh. You're able to measure it. Yeah, it's questionable. Does it have the 40 or not? Well, we'll go after Chazak. No, you don't go after Chazak. If you're able to measure it, measure it. Right? Chazak is only if it's impossible to verify. Thursday, you have a right to rely on Chazak. Okay? That's the Psak of the Rif. Now, if we're saying Rove rules she's a mamzer. Rules, we have a pregnant woman, Rav says Havalad mamzer. What does it mean he's a mamzer? But factually, if we're saying a Safik mamzer is permitted, a Safik mamzer is permitted to marry a mamzer. So that means that question does not have to be verified. Let's say a person's Safik mamzer is not permitted to marry a mamzer, or permitted to marry a kosher Jew. So then we have an irresolvable question. You need Rove. I need the halakhic mechanism of Rove to rule. What if Torah says Safik mamzer is permitted to marry a kosher Jew? It's permitted to marry an illegitimate Jew. So nothing has to be verified. There's nothing irresolvable that I need a mechanism to verify. But Rav says this woman, her child, is permitted to marry a mamzer. Why is he permitted to marry a mamzer? But it's a safek. It's a safek. So evidently, see, Rav holds that a safek is permitted to marry a mamzer. So it's a contradiction in Rav, because Rav just says we rule like Rebbe Lezer, it's only vadi bevade. And here he says, no, we give him a status as a mamzer to marry a mamzer to be continued.